Alright, so we're back here in the car, and one thing I wanted to address is this old stereo system here that just kind of completely outdated. You know, so it's something I want to get rid of. Another thing I wanted to kind of minimize is the AC controls here. You know, it's like the main highlight of the dash, the center dash entertainment area here for some reason. They made it huge. If anyone's owned or seen a Honda S2000, which I've owned before, you know, there's a little gauge area right here where all your AC controls are. It takes off about this much space of the dash, and it worked perfectly. So why companies put all this huge knobs and whatever on here, I do not know. So this is something definitely I wanted to change. We do have a head start. There's a install kit for the radio here. It's a full harness that holds the HVAC units and your stereo system in this tray. So, you know, we're going to be able to reuse these parts to put the new unit on here and kind of relocate things around here. So, one thing I had to do was I wanted to put an Android system with a huge screen. So I looked all over the U.S. market. Unfortunately, could not find anything. And very unfortunately, I had to look in the Chinese market and see what was available there. I did find something. I did order it, and I have received it. You know, if it was up to me, I would buy something in the U.S. And pay a whole lot more for it, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, no one made anything. So here it is here. Let me grab it. This is what we're going to put in here. It's a full Android system. It's this guy here. I picked this one because it has a huge screen, and it has all the knobs and buttons on the side here is more like a auto manufacturers, like OEM type, you know, system. So this is what we're going to put in this car. It's going to take quite a bit of customizing of this area here to get it to fit, but I think we can do it. So this is going to be positioned here, but before we do anything, we're going to have to remove everything here and see what we're working with. So the top tray here, of course, I've already got a head start, and I think I'm out of view here. There we go. Alright, so this top tray part, of course, you remove this top tray. I already get a head start. So, and then there's two screws in here that you got to remove. And then all this, it's kind of tough. You got to kind of wedge it out. There's 4 points of where it connects to the dash. And so it will slide out this way once you get it loose. I'll move this away. The next thing is, since I did get a head start, of course, there's going to be a 10mm bolt here on top. Actually, two on top, one here, and then two at the bottom. And this whole unit is going to come out as one. Now, one thing I'm not going to show in this video is wiring of this new stereo system. That's because we got some pre-wiring already done back here. I'm sure of it from what I see here at the bottom. What's kind of spilled out, and so the wiring is going to be a little bit difficult to go to, and each system is different. So. There we go. It's all one piece. And so you can see the adapted, let me see if I can get you in, there we go. So there's a whole plastic piece that holds the HVAC unit and the stereo system, so which we're going to reuse. It's going to be very helpful. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to disconnect everything off of here and just put it aside for now. So we can test fit the new unit and see what we got to do customizing the existing parts on this car to make it work. All right, so what we've got here is, like I said, I was right. There's a harness in here that that is used to hook up the system or any stereo system to the factory amp. In my case here, is I'm going to go ahead and reuse this interface just because some of the wires are the same and not all the wires on the new system are wired. So it's going to take a little bit of tweaking on my part to figure out what wire goes to where. And so if I did a video on that, it'll probably be hours long. Hopefully not, but we're going to go ahead and reuse this and see how far it gets us. Alright, so for now, I'm going to get our unit here. And I'm just going to test fit. So we're test fitting this together. I have not done this yet, so we'll see how this turns out. Kind of give us a good idea of what we need to do. So I'm going to set it up in here and see where it kind of gets close to hitting the plastics here on the sides, what I mean, and see how far I kind of want it to sit in. We're going to make a lot of adjustments from from different parts just to get it perfect. So it's just a lot of tweaking here and there. So what I see so far, it fits fairly well. There's a huge gap here, which is what I need and what I was thinking of. I was thinking of reducing the AC or the HVAC controls and relocate it down here where it's less important and everything's right here in my face. So what I see so far, it fits pretty good here. The only thing I don't like to see, or I don't like so far, is the little gaps that we have here on the sides. There's a slight gap between the new system and the existing plastic here. I might have to do something here just to fill in those gaps and making sure everything looks nice and neat. So we'll tackle that as we go along. The other thing too is the AC unit. I'll bring it back over here. You can tell our AC vents will hide behind this stereo system here. So, I mean, that's not going to hit anything but the stereo system. So we're going to have to do something custom with those AC vents and to get them relocated to clear the screen. So it's a start, but it's something to go after. Alright, so I got the whole stereo unit and HV control unit here on the bench. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start stripping it off of the mounting, plastic brace, whatever you want to call it, first, and remove everything off and see how everything works on here, and hopefully we can use a whole lot of what we already have to complete the assignment. Lucky for me, the stereo was only held on by one bolt, so whatever. I guess it worked. So see if I can slide her out. All right. So next, I want to remove this tray here. Go. Oops. So most likely what we're going to do here is I want the AC controls to fit down here, really, is what my goal is. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and slide out. So it just comes apart. That's cool. Okay, cool. It all comes apart. What I do want to keep on this bottom tray here, or these little places here, may not be necessary now that I think about it, because we have some here too. Alright, cool. So I'm kind of learning on the fly. and figuring out how this is all going to come together. Okay, so I know that this space here fits cleanly in the console in the car. So what I want to do is compare it with the AC controls, and I'm actually going to flip this around here. And what I want to do is I want to kind of get a gauge off of here on these controls of where that actually fits, because everything's kind of angled on this side here, so everything has an angle to it. So that's the difficult part. It's not straight, but it looks like to me here, if I center this up, it looks like I should be able to clip or trim some of the plastic piece off of here and off of here, and there's plenty of room here on the back side for it to match this pattern and then get this in the car. Once we do that, we'll test fit it again. We'll test fit it with the new stereo unit and see how that fits together before we're totally done test fitting everything onto these brackets. It's important to use these brackets because it has the mounting points to the car already. So that's already kind of done for you. Alright, so what I did here is I separated the electronics from the housing here. We're going to end up cutting this housing piece, and I didn't want to damage any of that at all whatsoever. So the next thing to do here is to go ahead and get our template, which is this piece here, and see if we can line it up here without going too crooked. And I guess I will probably measure this. So all I want to do is kind of center it up for now. I'm going to use some quick tape and just kind of mark the spots. And they're just there temporarily. I just want to show you how I was just going to go about doing this. I'm going to come back with a measuring stick and measure these out and see how centered I am. So this was just to kind of give me a baseline. This is how much plastic I'm going to trim. And you can tell already, if I trim along here, all our decals for the temperature and speed or whatever, is still going to show up. So it's not going to be too big of a deal trimming this. So it's not going to look awkward. Okay, so what I got here is I go ahead and measured off our template here of the pattern that we kind of need to see, or what we need to make it fit. So it's masked off, measured, and I measured a little bit larger, so I'm going to cut a little bit on the outside of where the mark actually needs to be, so we can test fit it. And then if we have to do some light sanding on this plastic just to clean it up, because I'm pretty darn sure that some of this plastic's going to melt with the wheel I'm going to use to cut it. So we'll start there. We'll start the cutting, and then I'll test fit, and then come back and see if we need to make any adjustments. And if so, we'll go ahead and do that. Alright, so we're back in the car here, and what I did is I got the HVAC controls and I put the electronics back on. You can see here how much we trimmed off already. I went in here and kind of shaved it a little bit for test fitting, and then going back and forth and test fitting again and again and again. So here's this side. It's not too bad of a gap. We can close it up with something. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. So what I wanted to test fit is the only marker that we have in here left is this panel here that has your controls here. This car has heated seats, so I have the 2 heated seats here, and then I have the relocation power and snow switch here, which was here by the shifter that we removed. So this is all we have to go by, and this is somewhat adjustable, which is good. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in here and see how it fits. Keep in mind that I did trim these pieces a bit. They're little hooks, and that's going to fit perfectly with this other plastic piece or plastic trim here. So it's going to be a little bit of a different fit. I have to kind of slide it in and down versus just sliding it right in. And that's because of the electronics on the back side. So I have a pretty good marker here where I did come in here and trim a little bit of this plastic off of the car on both sides, so this thing fits here. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to try to fit this panel in here, and there it is. I think it's, you know, it's pretty stationary if I don't shake it too much, but you know, everything kind of fits cleanly here. So I think this is a win so far. It fits nice and clean. We've got some nice lines going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get those plastic brackets that we used that was here already for the relocation of the stereo and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and mount those in, and then slide this back in here and start doing some marking and see where this is going to be at, and then we're going to mount this all together. That's just the first step, and then we got to come back and try to fit the stereo system in here too. Alright, so I went ahead and trimmed up these brackets. You can tell I cut out quite a bit. There was quite a bit taken off here. It used to come out to here and like that and this way. And then there was another little slide bracket or L bracket here in the back that I trimmed off. So I already got this side in. I'm going to go ahead and put this side on. And once again, we're going to test fit. Like I said, this is going to take a while to perfect it. But you just got to keep on going at it and know that you're going to get there and make it work. I think that's good enough. Let's see if I'm able to slide this in now, or if I need to trim out some more. Go. And I kind of want it right here. See if this piece goes in freely now. There we go there, it's nice and flush. It feels like it's good there. So I think that was a success. The next thing I gotta do is get out the trusty marker and kind of look down here and see where this is meeting that bracket or that mount. Before doing that, I gotta make sure everything's in place here. I think something might be getting in my way for this thing not to fit flush. You gotta remember, when we put this all together, it needs to go in, everything needs to go back in here all together as one unit, as smooth as possible, as to not damage anything in the process. So it's very important to get all your lines lined up where you need it now. And also check your gaps here. In my case, I left a little lip on the inside here, which worked out perfectly for me to gauge how far it is going to go. It's not going to go, if I push this here, it's not going to go any further. So this is perfect here. And I think that's going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and get my marker and draw a line on the back side and see where it meets up with the back bracket, or the side brackets here. Okay, so I got the brackets onto the HVAC unit. You can tell here how well it fits. I almost did a fully perfect cut here. Of course, this is nothing you're going to really see, but it's pretty close on this side. I was a little bit off on this side. I trimmed a little bit too much, but it's no big deal. It still caught the area that needed to. So this is going to kind of give us some structure here to hold everything together. So now I'm going to slide this in here and put the screen up, or the stereo system, and see how that's going to fit and start marking away. Of course, this is still going to need some adjustment. As you can tell, I'm kind of struggling to get this side lined up, and that's okay. You know, it might just be a matter that we adjust the bolt locations just very slightly. I think I'm off maybe maybe a 1/16 of an inch, if even that. So just make sure everything's kind of fitting in here where I like it. Everything can be adjusted later. Especially an adjustment that small, I'm not too worried about. So everything lines up here at the bottom. That's good. Okay, so I got both brackets on here. Now I'm going to insert it in here and see where these are going to line up. I'm hoping they go in between, but guess we'll see. Wow, can you believe that? Wow. Like, it fit in there perfectly. I mean, it's very stiff. You know, I just slid it in. Everything else seems to be lining up very well. Of course, I'm aligning it up a little bit better than this, but I'm very impressed. I'm very surprised that this is going to go in this easily for me. Of course, we still have this gap, in which I will address. And yes, this surface has a shiny black surface and this one doesn't, so it doesn't match, but I think we can fix that. I really think that we will be able to put a clear coat on here to get it close to matching the gloss of this. So that's the thought anyway. I won't know until we get there. So I'm kind of happy the way it's sitting in here. I'm looking at the gaps on both sides here. Kind of the angle of the screen, I wanted a little bit of a tilt. I don't know, I don't want to come out too far of a tilt. Maybe we can play around with it here. Yeah, I don't want to come out too much of a tilt. The reason being, it kind of comes out past this trim here, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to be kind of pushed in a little bit here. A little bit of angle too, so it kind of goes with the contour of the rest of the flow of the dash here. So that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and grab the marker again. I think we're set here. I like where the lines, all the lines are very clean. I'm very surprised. Totally happy with this so far. So I thought it was going to be a little bit more difficult at test fitting, but it doesn't look like to be the case. So lucky me on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my lines back here, and then take it back to the bench and start drilling some holes out for this.